Coeur District 76 Board of Education meeting is now called to order. Roll call, please.
Giddens?
Here.
Cagle? Here. Captain Reagan? Val Reagan? Here. Tyler? Here. Griner? Here. Bailey?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mission and vision statement. So unless somebody remembers it by heart, we're going to move on. Okay, good enough. All right. We're almost there. I call the public hearing for the fiscal year 2018 school budget to order. Discussion of the budget. Mr. Liston, do you have anything to add? Right at the end of the budget? Okay. At the end of your budget is the changes that was made from when it was on display 30 days ago. And there's an explanation for each one. She's listed tentative, proposed, and the difference of both. Looks like most of the revenue is changes to the GSA formula. Expenses is just miscellaneous.
Okay, so we didn't know about when the budget
Right, came up, exactly. Does anyone have any questions? Does the public have any questions on the budget? This time we need a motion to adopt, please.
I'll make the motion to adopt Resolution 1708. Resolution to adopt the budget. Whereas the Board of Education of Creve Coeur School District 76, County of Tazewell, State of Illinois, has caused to be prepared in a tentative form a budget, and the Secretary of this Board of Education has made the same conveniently available to public inspection for at least 30 days prior to the final action thereon. And whereas a public hearing was held as to such budget on the 26th day of September 2017, notice of said hearing having been given at least 30 days prior thereto as required by law, and all other legal requirements have been complied with. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of Creve Coeur School District 76, County of Tazewell, and State of Illinois as follows. Section 1, that the fiscal year of this school district be, and the same is hereby fixed and declared to commence on the first day of July 2017 and to end on the 30th day of June 2018. Section 2, that the Board of Education held a public hearing regarding the adoption of its 2018 fiscal year annual budget and at its regular meeting held September 26, 2017. Section 3, that the following budget attached hereto and made a part hereof, containing an estimate of amounts available in each fund separately and of expenditures from each fund be, and the same is hereby adopted as the budget of this school district for the said fiscal year, adopted this 26th day of September 2017.
Roll call.
Giddens?
Aye.
Cagle? Val Reagan? Tyler? Griner?
Aye.
Bailey?
All right, motion carried. Need a motion to close the hearing, please.
I'll make the motion to close the FY 2018 school district budget public hearing and resume the regular meeting at 6:07 p.m.
Giddens?
Aye.
Cagle? Val Reagan? Tyler? Griner?
Aye.
Bailey?
All right, motion carried. Budget hearing is hereby closed. All right, are there any comments from the audience on action items on the agenda? Need a motion regarding the minutes, please.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
meeting minutes for the regular meeting date September 12, 2017.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Comments? Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Valregan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner.
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding the payments list.
Make a motion to approve the payments list dated September 19, 2017.
I'll second.
Any questions?
I think I just have one, where it says, okay, the check number is 19791
Okay.
on page 7. Actually, I have 2 on that page. And it says, specialty, school specialty
Specialty.
ink, what is that?
Probably ink for our machines, copy machines.
$2,000 worth?
It's school supplies mostly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it's a special program. Okay, and then, under Tazewell Mason counties, at the bottom, check 19797, it's about $20,000. How much is this for, how many days? I was like, are we gonna be paying this every other month? Okay,
Come up.
No, it's not, is it? It's OPTP. Psychologist and
Speech.
speech services. I suppose it could be.
I was just wondering how
Yes, yeah.
this was good for.
Okay, checks.
Tuition, special ed tuition.
Special ed tuition, OTPT, psych, and speech services.
It's all of the services together.
Right.
It's all of them.
Okay.
So our
Tuition,
speech
all
and-
of it, yeah.
So it's probably.
It's probably 20,000 a month, okay.
Something we need to have, so.
Yeah, we have to have it, I was just wondering, there's such a large
Yes,
number.
It is. Any other questions, comments?
There was an Amazon thing on there, I'm not gonna ask what it's for.
No.
I can't remember what it was, what page, but I was just,
I think it's on the first page.
oh, you saw it too?
Yeah, 9757, it's
2,000.
supplies.
Yeah,
2,000.
well, it says a check amount, but I
Oh,
don't
I
think it's
see
just
now.
for that.
No, it's got
250.
several lines.
Right, that's what I mean, I
under
think
it.
it's, has several things under it.
I see LaSalle. Mr. McCormick,
I don't
I see
know.
part two, too.
Amazon check for $2,489. Any idea?
There was several
Oh.
in there.
Title I, LaSalle, and Title I.
Remedial programs, it says.
Mhm. As long as it's not orange furniture.
I was just wondering.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
You're looking at the Tazewell, I know special ed busing was 10,000, I think it's
So that fell under there as well.
not under that. no.
Oh.
Section one.
I probably don't wanna know how much it all costs, do I?
I saw that, that's higher.
Yes. Right.
All right, roll call, please.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Valregan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. I'll check on that check number and see exactly what it entails and I'll email everybody, the Amazon one. All right, we need a motion regarding the treasurer's report.
Make a motion to approve the revised treasurer's report dated July 31st, 2017 and August 31st, 2017.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Comments? The reason it's revised is because we're gonna move money. The unaccount was negative and it cannot be negative, so later in the meeting, we will move it. Thank you, Mr. Gibbons, for putting that out. Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Valregan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner.
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding LaSalle School Activity Funds.
I'll make the motion to approve the revised May 2017, the June, July, and August 2017 LaSalle School Activity Fund reports.
Second.
Any questions? Kind of fill in the board blank, got an extra one?
Well, we realized today that the board never got the June and July, so you now have that, and it matches the total that I knew I was missing, so I think we're all good.
That's the one that's on your table. Roll call, please.
Denton.
Aye.
Cagle. Val Reagan. Aye. Tyler. Aye. Griner.
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. With the board's permission, I'd like to move G5 until after executive session, please. Do I have a consensus of that?
Yes.
Thank you. As far as the health insurance, we still do not have exact numbers back, so I don't think we should take action on this one.
How long did we,
G6.
how long do we have to get it done?
We have the next meeting in October.
October 15th is the deadline, I think.
Okay, good.
And we're just barely gonna make it, but Mr. Whiston got some of the numbers, but the first 4, they haven't taken into account people that are no longer employed here. So to be safe, I think we need to wait until we get all of them in. Okay?
Good news.
When's our next board meeting?
10th. 10. So we'll be within 5 days.
He did get some good numbers back into his cost per shield.
Oh, good.
They're all good.
But I don't want to put that pressure on the board making a decision without having looked at all of it. And if these other 4 haven't changed it, then that could play into the difference. So I'd feel more comfortable waiting. if
Well,
you
and
guys
hopefully
would.
we can get it in the packet next time, so we have time to look
Right.
at it, because even at the table.
It's hard.
Right.
It's, yeah.
Right, and then one of the other ones might make a better offer, so
They might. So I think we're
Try to
better
get-
off to wait.
the employees the best offer.
Right. So,
And then the committee meeting before we meet then. Then we switch carriers.
yeah. Switching carriers.
No, we're staying with the same carrier.
Oh, you mentioned Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah.
We've
but-
got United Healthcare now, right?
Right. We've got to go with United Healthcare, but there's different
Okay.
options.
Okay, right. I remember there was 4 options before. Right.
So,
Okay.
okay. G7, do we have that information, or do you want to wait till October on the snow removal?
Actually, I'm gonna hand it out and let you look at it. We had one bid that we've always gotten from Contractual, we had 2 others. Had a good discussion with the guy, he said he wants to come out Thursday and Friday, probably the top bid we have, he wants to sit down and exactly go over everything, what's expected. When they call, and not they call. And I think he's given us some leeway, he wants some direction from us.
So we need to wait then until you talk to him.
But I do have some stuff I can pass out, and you guys can read up on.
Okay.
Might have some more, but right now we have.
Good, that's
good.
good.
Okay, so there will be no action taken on G7, the snow removal bids. Put that on the next agenda also, please.
I think the bids last, I mean, just because of hay, but they're kind of high for some reason, when we had no snow.
Very.
Yeah. And it doesn't hurt, we should go out and get bids,
Right.
at least every year. All right, need a motion regarding extracurricular stipends.
Make a motion to approve the 2017-2018 extracurricular stipends as presented.
Second.
Any questions?
Okay, so the volleyball's empty, so
Right.
we're just still waiting for maybe someone.
And as we hire those people, then it needs to come to the board individually. Right. So, yeah.
And also, yeah, because I see boys basketball, 5th and 6th and science club, there's several. But I was gonna ask, are we going to have all these?
I would hope so.
Okay. I didn't know because I know there's discussion of how, if the kids are really involved in all of these. So if we only have 1 or 2 kids,
Right. Well, I guess if we don't have a director, we won't have them.
we have a director.
So you mean, a sponsor, you mean
We have
the
a
ones that
sponsor.
we have now? Yeah.
I mean, I think, for instance, Chess Club, I think someone said there's 1 kid that went to the tournament.
Mm.
So it's like, is it, why, I want every kid to have that opportunity, I'm not saying that.
Right. That was last year, right?
Right. Can we think of the feasibility of continuing all these clubs?
We need to check into that and see how much participation there is.
Right.
Because I know like the math contest, there's not very many kids that get into that.
No.
But I don't think they can take too many either.
I mean, even if they had 3 or 4, I mean, it'd be okay. But if they had 1.
We had some numbers at the end of the year.
I went to one of those meetings last year with kids. Really, I thought it was Scholastic World Conference, what I'm thinking of. The math, I'm not sure.
They probably have quite a good scholastic bowl, usually like that as well.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Valregan.
Aye.
Tyler. Aye. Griner.
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye, motion
Oh,
carried. Yes, ma'am.
is there a reason why we have 2 DeSalle yearbook directors? Do they split it?
They split it, I
Okay, I
believe.
was double
And
checking
I
that.
think we normally do have to.
I was just double checking, because it's half the rate of the other one, so I just want to make sure. Okay.
All right, we need a motion regarding the loan.
I'll make the motion to approve the interfund loan from the education fund to the tort fund in the amount of $3,500 retroactively to July 31st, 2017.
Second.
Questions?
Because we had it changed the budget. I mean, the treasurer's.
Treasurer's report, yes. And I think it's just a money flow issue. We should be able to pay it back within a month. It's applicable.
Okay, well, I was just looking at it, and the line item, I just didn't get it.
It was showing a minus in the last meeting.
Oh, the last meeting, okay, I was like, I
Right.
didn't see that here.
And so.
Okay, never mind.
All right. Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle.
Aye.
Valregan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner.
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding the roof at Homewood.
Make the motion to accept the proposal for Carling Roofing to repair the roof at Homewood Heights in the amount not to exceed $2,000.
I'll second it.
Discussion? Questions?
What did we decide to do with that, Christine? Okay, so we have to have the set done, or else it'll get worse.
The gym's leaking in a few spots right now. And that's probably one of the muskier rooms that get to go together and talk about it. It's one that, we've had trouble with in the past. So I think if we can just keep it dry, it's really on the edges. They're not doing anything to the middle. The gutter up there is not, it's loose too. So I want to refasten the gutter. He said it'd definitely be under a day. It'd have to be under a day. That's what he said. He said, and he was going to check a couple other things. So
Actually,
we had gutters, like 2 gutters that come along.
I thought it'd be more expensive than this.
It's small, it's not a permanent fix. He said it's like good for 4 years.
Probably should have done it a few years ago, actually. Any other questions?
But there was not that actually. It's not. Good check. On the side of the gym.
Okay, so he checked the rest of them too. Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Valregan. Tyler.
Aye.
Griner.
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding policy. Mr. Giddens.
Can we table 560?
Why?
I need to double check something there in our old policy now, to make sure we don't have a conflict. However, on the 2 exhibits, I think we need to approve those, so the auditor will have those forms as people start
Okay.
doing activities.
Can we do the first reading now, though?
It might change drastically. Right now, it's set for a contract.
Will this reimbursement form go
That
along
was
with the
my
policy?
mistake.
Yeah. So how
Yeah.
This is referred to our contract, and I
Okay.
want to double
do
check
I
that.
have to
But then would you be comfortable doing the exhibits when there's?
The exhibits we have to do, those are just showing receipts and turning them in to the bookkeeper. That way there's a form.
Okay.
I mean, there's no reason to delay those, but I wanna make sure that it wasn't a and I just caught that, so.
Where did you find this policy? Is it in the one that's coming out that we haven't done yet? Is that why you pulled it in? Is it a new one?
the last one.
Yeah, it's part of the last one that was missed.
Oh,
And I
okay.
don't know how I missed the other part of it, but I just wanna make sure we
Okay,
don't have any conflicts.
all right. So you want a motion?
So we do need the exhibits to go in so we can start.
So you want to make the motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table policy number 560, expenses. That's what you want?
Second. Giddens.
Aye.
Cable. Aye. Valregan. Aye. Tyler. Aye. Garner.
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Next agenda, please. We need a motion regarding exhibit.
I'll make the motion to approve policy exhibits at 5:60-E1, employee expense reimbursement form, and 5:60-E2, employee estimated expense approval form.
Second.
Any questions, comments on that? Roll call, please.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cable. Aye. Valregan. Aye. Tyler.
Aye.
Garner. Aye. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Information items, written communication,
Nothing to be read in open session?
reminders of upcoming events. See if I can remember this. Next board meeting is October 10th. Dunlap is the end of the month. Chicago Conference is November 17th through the 19th. We did get the Embassy Suites. Thank you, Mrs. Walton, for all your hard work. We did get that. I think that's it. Presentations and suggestions by board members. Have any? I have something we need to discuss. It happens to be policy 2.125. Because next month we need to do the resolution for this. Anytime board members spend any money, they've got to have a resolution now. And I guess this covers the entire district, am I right? For the expenses. It's at one for the 50,000, but we have to do a resolution. So when I pulled this policy up, I realized our old policy specified how much food allowance we got. The new one does not.
That's in the AP.
I tried to pull everything, did not see it.
Yes, I thought we
discussed that,
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
and I don't think we
And
had,
that was only for the conference, it didn't cover anything else.
Okay, so we do have it in policy.
I don't remember these numbers, but hey, that's conference, it's not.
That's the only place I found it. Because I was looking for,
When was this discussed?
I don't remember those numbers being discussed.
I don't either.
That looks like an old one. Doesn't look like an old one.
it's an old one. There's no date on it.
No, you can do it for the budget.
I pulled it off the thumb drive I just got.
Okay. It's an AP.
Well, it sounds like that one's still in place.
Off the
Okay,
thumb
as
drive
long
you
as
just
we
sent
have
out.
direction.
It should have, if it was approved, it should have approved on the bottom of it.
Does not.
It's an older one, so it didn't have a date.
Okay.
Okay. As long as we have direction for the bookkeeper, that's what I was concerned about.
So is this what we're going with then?
I never discussed, well, parking is like $50 a day a park, so.
We never had a specific amount on that.
And I think that's what we kind of discussed. I thought we said we don't know because it depends on where they
There
go.
you go.
And it might be,
Stay.
you know, if you go down to, say Carbondale, you might get a hotel room really cheap and you don't have to pay for parking, where you go to Chicago. I mean, I think that's what we discussed, you know, not to go overboard, but I said maybe we need to have a limit, but we never put the limit.
Mm-mm.
That limit was only put in Chicago.
Do you have any
Right.
idea where this came from?
Well, as far as the parking, we always call whatever hotel you get approved at, find out what the parking is, and that's,
You issue that amount.
that's what we get.
Right.
Whether you choose to park there or not,
Right.
that's up to the board member, but it's whatever the hotel that you're staying at charges for parking.
Okay, but taxi could also be an issue depending on what hotel you get.
Right.
Yeah, most of the time you don't need one, but yes.
Right, but when we were in the One Weston, they were.
Just the type real quick.
And we thought, if the teachers, depending where the teachers go, you don't want them to have to pay for parking. When,
I remember us talking about it, but
Right,
I don't
that's right,
remember
remember.
what our final decision was.
just stayed at last weekend, it was $52 to park it.
exactly, so say if a teacher goes to conference, you don't want her to have to pay out of their pocket.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Stayed at place is $52.
If there is no board
But most of
approval
it's-
date on the bottom
but
of
most of
this,
it's like
then
that everywhere.
Then it's, okay,
it's not.
Okay.
So, before our next board meeting, we need to have something. It can be similar to this, but, yeah, because I'll tell you how old it is. It's 44.5, the IRS mileage allowance. It's what, 53.5 now, I think, so this was old. All right, so, next agenda. Bring me something, Randy.
a new,
Giving that back to the
Yes,
office.
yes, please.
well, I have it,
Okay.
I just printed it out
So
tonight.
just send it to me, Randy, whatever you come up with.
Exactly,
Okay.
because we have to give the bookkeeper some direction, and the board needs to be on the same page.
So are you gonna do the resolution then, too?
Yes, we
Okay.
need to do the resolution. That's for the entire district. We have to do it every year when we do the budget. And I believe that amount is already filled in, a lump sum.
So who's doing the resolution?
Sorry?
Who's doing it? Who's the resolution?
I sent it to you now already.
Nothing.
2.125E,
See what I got.
I think.
Yeah, there was a dollar amount in there, and we
Yeah.
said,
If not, I will send it to you.
Okay.
so we didn't have to do it every,
And it can be used.
Where did we put in
We
a
didn't have
different
to-
policy? Cause there was a different policy that, was specific to the board.
2.125, that's right here.
And we didn't put it, is that the new one we just did?
You needed the
I
resolution.
thought this too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought so too.
but you have to do it every year.
you have to do it every year, and it says at the time you do the budget, so actually, we probably should have done it this meeting, but we just,
Take that line item that's,
what we approved is $50,000, not to exceed 50,000, that is for the entire district, that's staff,
the entire district for the entire year.
year, yes. And anything above that, then you have to go through the procedure that it comes to the board, you have to fill out the expense account and everything else. So, and Shelley had given us numbers, so I think we'd be okay with that.
That's when we adopted that policy and exhibits, she gave us the numbers.
She did. Okay, so we will get the resolution on the next agenda. You come up with an AP.
For Chicago.
Yes,
Okay.
please. All right, are there any other suggestions by board members? I don't have my list now, but how's the LaSalle water problem?
I haven't noticed the bathrooms, the two bathrooms being as bad.
Plumber called me last week, they're scheduled to come in this week and try out and replace those two faucets, they got them in, they had to order them.
Okay, very good. What about the water flowing at Parkview? That was on the list. Remember, we had water
In the kitchen.
in the kitchen, it wouldn't turn off?
Not that.
That's been fixed.
Okay. All right, that's all I can remember.
We did have a little bit of a water problem, water running at LaSalle for some time in Kelly's closet. So it was running, and we did get it shut off. But it ran, when I say ran, more than a trickle, but it ran pretty good for about, I'm gonna be honest and say about 3 weeks.
Hmm.
What was it called?
Too many valves, that kind of, they really simplified that off.
All right, reports from the administration. Mr. Wistman?
I'll start off, East Peoria Parade, Homecoming Parade tomorrow night, I believe. Anybody want to talk about that? Steve can probably maybe talk about that. Full Day Institute, October 6th. We're out of school on Monday for Columbus Day on the 9th of October. 10th will be the board meeting, will be the next night after that. Parent-teacher conference in October, 26th, 27th. On the 26th, from 1 to 8. From the 27th, that's not right. 26th, 1 to 8. On the 27th, Friday, 8 to 12. And I get most of this information from the calendar that Stephanie mails out to everybody, gives to all the students. Does a nice job, does it every month, nobody ever complains. I've been at districts where it's a week late getting out, people are saying where's the lunch menu, it's the first of the month. We never have that issue because Stephanie does a good job with that. I look at that a lot. Blue White Nights, not that far away, October 30th, Halloween Parade, October 31st. That's from 1:30 to 2:30. Parents can come up and help with costumes at 1:10. Brenda Cagle, myself, her husband, last night we went down to Homewood County Playground. We thought about 4 pieces of equipment we could salvage that we could probably use. Probably more than 4 pieces, but probably 4 pieces that we could use maybe even at Parkview or South. There's a couple volleyball standards down there that are in pretty good shape. The net's of course in bad shape, but the net, top of the net is still there. And the standards would probably be useful at Parkview School with Mr. Johnson. There's a simple, I don't know what you call it, monkey bar that goes straight across, either put it in South. I even thought maybe even at the junior high. Believe me, I've seen junior high kids love to climb on that. They climb like monkeys as well as those little kids. The little kids are loving the leaves falling. The leaves are falling off the tree, and they're just out there playing with the leaves. Would you agree, Mr. McCormick? Mm-hmm. Love those, the leaves. It's fall. They feel like fall, but the leaves are fall.
We thought maybe, Terry thought maybe if the guys could gingerly take up some of those things without damaging them, that they might be able to salvage them enough to where they could be sanded down, painted, and possibly put back up. So, once they're taken up, then I discuss it on the condition of what they are. So we'll bring everybody into the mix to decide what you guys want to have happen with some of that, so.
Okay, what pieces are you talking about?
Bleachers, or a set of bleachers.
There's a set of bleachers, small set, that could be sanded down and painted to use for the baseball over at Parkview. There's a couple of the smaller benches, just single benches, that could be used anywhere. There's a, there's the monkey bar thing that he's talking about. It's taller than the one here at LaSalle. And just in conversation, since we were there, and I wanted Terry really to see it, to see if his guys could take it out. And I kind of thought maybe that they could possibly get it up in one piece without damaging it. And if so, this is all on how they can get it up, okay? If they can get it up without damaging it, then it's not rusted out to where we could possibly just a light coat of sanding and then paint it with some metal paint and put it up possibly at Parkview. So, since there's really no other playground equipment there. So, I mean, it's all in conversation. There's a volleyball, 2 volleyball poles there. Good shape, other than the assembly that would crank it up and down. It's kind of rusty, but the poles are in decent shape. So that's just a matter of taking those up and, again, if they don't bend them in the process of taking them up, I think they can be salvaged, and so does Terry, as long as they don't damage them in the process. Maybe the crank assembly doesn't need to be replaced, but the poles itself, if they're not damaged, just a matter of getting a net put up, okay? And there are 2 slides there. The one slide is so rickety, that thing needs to go. The other slide is, and that's just for safety. The other slide, the slide itself is really in nice shape, it's a double slide. But the slide thing needs to come down because it's not really upright.
It's on a wood.
But if we could maybe use the slide elsewhere as LaSalle, I don't really know what the insurance would think, but as you know, we get our, funds put together, you know, if they wanna incorporate that maybe in something and use it for something, possibly?
That was gonna be my question about insurance, because when we buy equipment, even new equipment, we have to have it installed by professionals. So how's that gonna play into it?
Well, I don't know, that's why I thought we would all talk about that, so, but, you know, I know that the insurance has been having a fit about having that stuff at home, which is sitting there, but that stuff needs to go.
Right.
So in the intergovernmental agreement and stuff with, the village, Terry just went to a meeting about all of that, and so he's gonna talk to them again about, you know, let's get this done. They couldn't do it throughout the summer because they've been so stinking busy, but now that things are slowing down, with mowing and things, that they can kind of incorporate that in their work, so.
That'd be great.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they can get done over maybe the next month or so, so I thought, you know what, we saw his car up here, and I said, let's go talk to him, and everybody, not everybody, because Val wasn't there, but have Terry see what he's talking about, and get a visual so that he can go back and talk to his guys and say, this is kind of what we're thinking, and then have us have a meeting to talk about it, so.
I was gonna say, if nothing else, if we can't use it, maybe we could donate it to the city, because they've been wanting like slides for like the community center and things.
Well, that's what he just talked
I
about.
mean, because our insurance is not gonna let us.
No, but also for the fort, there's a couple of pieces that for the fort, as they're redoing the fort, that they could just, actually just pick up, because they're not even mounted. There's that one little bouncy thing. It's like it's where the bigger things are. I don't know if you've been back there a lot. It's a yellow thing.
Yeah, they dig up gravel.
Yeah, there's a thing that, well, people can sit on.
Right,
kids.
and they dig.
That is just a matter of guys lifting it up and putting it on the back of the truck, and they can take that to the fort.
Well, we gotta do it in a donation, we
Yeah,
can't just
you're
do
right.
that.
So they can take that to the fort if we donate it to them, so they can do that, so. But that big mounded thing, they're afraid once they start picking that up and taking it apart, that it might just rust and fall apart.
Giddy.
So, yeah. But anyway, we had a look-see at all of that stuff, but the slide itself, the double slide thing, that slide part is really in good shape.
Not an ounce of rust on it.
So if we can't use it at our place, I'm thinking that piece needs to be donated somewhere throughout the village, but that's not my decision. I mean, that's something that we need to discuss, so.
But that's a good start.
Yeah.
We need to get started on it.
So,
That one slide is dangerous.
it is,
It needs to be
Rick,
taken
it's
first.
Rick.
Yeah.
Good work.
it is, so, anyway.
Good.
Yeah, so we did a lot of that last night in, what, a half hour or so.
In November, I'm gonna try to find out about this. There's a lot of these playground equipment for schools. Some of these companies sells it, or they set it up to where you have volunteers help install it, not professionals. So how's all that play? So I'm gonna ask them,
Cause our insurance has been very
I'm
adamant.
gonna ask them about,
What is insurance?
I think if you buy
How that functions.
playground equipment and install it, 40%. So you can save 40% if you have people that
install,
can
right?
install and use concrete.
So, anyway.
Mr. Johnson and Mr. Whiston, we actually have talked to all the students at Parkview. We ended with the 8th graders on Friday. It's good to listen to the students sometimes. We were in Mr. Kleesner's room and I think we were finished. We had 2 or 3 minutes left. And one of the kids said, you know, can we ask some questions? I said, sure. One of the questions was, why can't we eat snacks in rooms? I said, I'd love to address that. I'd love to address that. You know, one is, Mr. Kleesner, do you want mice? Do you want roaches in your room? No. Do we want our custodians clean up food in the room? No. You want to bring snacks? Fine. Cafeteria, we have everybody eating in the cafeteria, blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm glad you brought that up. I said, matter of fact, now that you're talking about food, I think It's 94 degrees, it's Friday. It's gonna be the hottest day of the year. I think we have about 18 gallons of ice cream we need to get rid of. Would you guys be interested in having ice cream, this afternoon? And I was like, hey, yeah, I'm glad you guys brought that food up, because we do have ice cream. And we went down there, and Steve and I just had a great time. I said, Steve, we're gonna start with the 8th graders, we'll probably do 7th graders, and that'll be it. We got about 20 minutes left in the day, and I said, let's go for it, let's get those 6th graders down there. We got 10 minutes with them, and they came in, and we actually served 18 gallons of ice cream. 3 gallons, 3 tubs, 3 gallons, 9 vanilla, 3 tubs of 3-gallon chocolate, so 18 gallons if you figure it out. I think that's the most ice cream I've ever served at one time. I mean, we were just putting it on there, the ice cream was soft, it was flowing, the kids were loving it. I had a kindergarten parent this morning, not this morning, Monday morning, catch me, says, some of us kindergarten parents have been talking, we're not real happy about going to school, it's been heat, why haven't we been on the heat schedule? And I said, we're just a little worried that the parents, and not all parents will be informed, we have kids left somewhere that extra hour. I said, I will say one thing, on Friday we had ice cream in an air-conditioned cafeteria for about an hour down at Parkview, and I know that doesn't answer your problem with the kindergartners, but I said, maybe if we would have them ice cream on Friday, we wouldn't have any complaints. But thanks, Mr. Johnson, for that, and thank you, the 8th graders, for bringing that up. I wanted to bring up something, show you. These are the benches we have on our cafeteria. These are the seats that we have on the cafeteria tables at Parkview. A lot of these are, I think they're really faulty. This is really stiff. There's no flexibility. But we have about 20 or 30 of these that probably need to be replaced. I did look them up. We had Jim Scotty look up. He said, I can get you good ones for maybe $49. I got on this exact one is 16 something 70. But if you look at it, it's kind of interesting. It's got an inch where the bar goes in. But the kids want to spin on these things. Well, they don't spin. They're locked in place. And once they break, then they do spin. So it's kind of a, but if you look at them, they're not the best constructed ones in the world. I mean, they're very stiff and the kids.
I'm trying to think,
Right, it's like mine.
How long it's.
15 years, they're 15 years old, I will say the elementary ones will never break, the benches, they'll last forever. These aren't, and junior high kids are tougher on equipment than elementary kids. I just wanted to show Jim Scotty in. We did find them online. I get that exact same thing. The only problem, Steve, we might have is they don't have it in blue. So I don't like orangish, reddish looking, I don't like red looking seats. So we might have to go with another seat. We can get that exact one, but I don't think we can get it in blue.
I was wondering, would it cost more to fix it than to buy new?
Oh,
Like
lot
tables
less,
and
lot
stuff.
less.
I was
All
thinking
those
there's
tables.
$50
The
a table.
tables are really nice.
Right,
The tables
you can
are,
get them for $16.70. That's what I
yeah.
to the
Uh,
16,
they've been
70.
Even if
15
they're,
years.
even if they're orange, I mean.
Well,
No, I don't want, we're not gonna put red on it.
All right.
We're not gonna do it.
Okay, thank you to, the Tazewell County Health Department comes in, they do inspections. We got a 99 at LaSalle. I think something about their washcloths maybe not being cleaned up, they probably want them cleaned up every 30 minutes or something. Well, we use the same washcloths out of the same, probably all 3 lunch shifts. Got the 2,000, I think that's about it. Snow removal bids, did a lot of discussion on that today. Had a guy from the many apartment complexes in Peoria, many apartments, they have this company, this guy come around. So I was checking reference, and he says, you're the first school that's ever called. And I had 2 people I talked to. One guy was very helpful, said, I'd like to talk to you about salt. He said, we, in the industry, we don't want our sidewalks being eaten up by this rock, what do they call it, rock salt or something. He said, it's hard on sidewalks. And some of our sidewalks are pretty eaten up by whatever. Maybe it's salt, maybe it's just the weather. But he said, this guy would use a higher quality of salt, cost you a little more, his salt price was even higher than the one last year, but it's something we need to look at. One guy I called, really interesting. He said, he wasn't in a really nice complex, he was a manager of an apartment complex, a huge one in Morton. and this company had done his, so I called him and he said, we've had them for 5 years, we like them. I went to use them past 1 year if they were willing to like them. So I kept asking questions. He said, I'm done answering questions. I gave you one answer and that's it.
Okay, then.
And then I said, I hung up. I said, okay, that's fine. He doesn't want to talk and he did not want to,
But he liked them.
He said, I told you the answer. I don't need to give you any more information. Okay, that's it.
So
We'll
you're bringing that to us next
Yes.
meeting. All right.
I've been surprised, a lot of people say they want to do snow removal, but, I even talked to a guy that said, we really wanted to bid today, you can still turn it in. He said, I'll be there in a half hour. He's set out there all day, so, they say they're gonna come and do it, but they just don't. Snow removal, I think it's hard work. I think I sat with a driver one day, doing a school, and it's monotonous work, and when it's a whiteout, it's not fun work. We'll let the principals talk.
All right. Who wants to go first?
Mr. McCormick, I believe so.
Okay.
We take turns.
Every year, the Illinois Principal Association puts out information, probably a month ago, about Principal for a Day, and asks for volunteers to host a state senator or representative. For probably 5 years, I've put my name in the hat and never heard a word until last week. I found out that Senator Dave Kaler will be spending the morning at LaSalle on October 12th. So I've already been in contact with his staff, and looking forward to having him tour the building and hanging out for a couple hours. Update on the video cameras. I know I did talk with the tech committee about that yesterday. Jay told me the stickers for the building saying video surveillance, whatever it has to say, he said those have been ordered, and he kept wondering why they hadn't come in. They were back ordered from the company. They should be here in the next week or so. But we are very happy with the cameras. We have a couple that we want to tweak the angle on, just what we're seeing, a little bit different. But they're very nice. We're very appreciative of them. I did also, when Officer Sheridan stopped by one day, informed her we had the cameras, and she came in and took a look to see what we could see, and she was very excited. She really liked them. So, great quality. You got them all in the right spot. She was very happy. And she did inquire about the potential for the police department to get access to the live feed, which my understanding would involve some sort of agreement between you and them, but some sort of request will have to come from them. I'm just kind of forewarning you that they may ask, and they would probably be able to better explain why they might want that feed. Let's see. We do have a nurse in my building this year in the mornings for a kindergarten student. I can report that that has gone very well. I can also report that between the parent, the nurse, and myself, we've got good communication going on. So when the little girl wasn't feeling well today, she actually called the nurse first to say, hey, she's not going to be there. And so the nurse didn't come in, and we don't have to worry about paying a nurse to sit around, which is nice. Nurse did call and double check that I didn't want her to come in, and I said, I think we're okay today. But the student is adapting well, and we have a meeting probably about every month, just kind of to discuss progress. And I'll be honest and tell you, it looks like at this point, probably sometime in November, she's going to at least move towards full days. That is something we did, as Shelley and I planned for in the budget, although we did plan for it probably in January, not sometime in November. But I hope that on those days when she's not here, and the student will miss a week of school when she has to go to doctors out east, those days when we don't have the nurse in the building hopefully offsets some of those costs, and we come out even in the end. At the last parent club meeting, we did talk about among other things, we talked about the playground, but we just kind of looked at some books and passed those around. But we also talked about the Halloween parade. A suggestion they had, those of you who are familiar with the route, we go across the street to the library, we'll go down to the corner and make a right turn. Their suggestion was, after we get down to the police department, fire department, turn around and come back on that same road there. If we can get the police to block off that road altogether, and they would like to put up a few tables along the way and distribute treats coming back, and if we had any other businesses, maybe the video store did the same thing, but we keep the kids in a more confined area, especially if we can get that road blocked off there. It would just, I noticed last year when we come back through that subdivision, they just tend to get very strung out. You get slow walkers, you get fast walkers, they get spread out. You could probably stand in the middle of that road and watch them all go up and watch them all come back. I think supervision would be better. Plus, I think the tables will help slow them down coming back and we keep them more together. But I'll need to talk to somebody who works with Creve Coeur roads and see if we can get maybe it actually physically blocked off for an hour or so, and I'll talk with the police department as well.
They were very good last year.
Yeah, they were. They were, but I understand they're also always a little hesitant. We will if we can, because if something else comes up.
Because that road is right where the fire department
It
is.
is,
And
that's-
and the
Right.
ambulance and the police station, there's a doctor's office there too. So if there's an emergency,
Yes.
that's the road that's gonna be utilized.
Mhm.
We did do our Honor Flight fundraiser, and the goal that the Honor Flight people put out there for our school was right around $3,000, which is about $10 a kid, and I thought, oh, I don't know if we're gonna do that, but every morning during that week, I would kind of tell them something else that they would get out of this. You know, the top class gets a pizza party from the Honor Flight people, which, that's true. The top raising student gets to throw, what's the top raising student get? They get to throw pie in my face? Or your face?
Volunteered me.
Yeah, it's your face. That's right, it's your face. Top raising teacher gets to throw a pie in my face.
You think that's true, right? You think?
Anyway, they ended up raising somewhere around $4,500 for it. So, and it was kind of cool because this week, there's been, I think there must have just been an honor flight because I keep seeing in the
Yeah.
newspaper
Yeah,
different
today.
things about it.
Today was good.
So, we did our own little part to help out that
That's
program.
great.
Nice.
Last thing I've got, Grandparents Week is coming up, starts next week. It's because of holidays and everything else, it ends up getting spread over 2 weeks. But 3rd, 4th, 5th are kindergarten, 1st and 2nd. We don't have school. We don't have kids on the 6th. We don't have kids on the 9th. So then 10th and 11th are 3rd and 4th grade. Book fair goes during that whole time too.
So we're doing it as last year.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Anything else for me?
I think so. Anyone have any questions?
What if one grandchild has an abundance of grandparents?
Bring them all.
I don't care.
We don't care. That's fine.
And there's always probably some kid that
There's
doesn't
not a
have a
limit.
I
grandparent.
know, but that's what I'm saying, should we?
So
have
it'd be
like-
nice that you could say, oh, you slept with us.
What you
Yeah,
know?
have like
What do
a
you?
whole table of grandparents and then have like all their buddies who have none sit with them?
It is always nice if you can give the, maybe the teacher a heads up and just say, hey, I'm gonna be there with my grandchild and there's gonna be 5 or 6 of us. If you wanna throw a couple extra kids in the mix that don't have grandparents, that's always wonderful. I know Mrs. Plunkett always comes and she usually has a table of kids. Mrs. Radovich will do the same thing for her kids that don't have a parent. Mr. Whiston has volunteered to do that as well this year, to be a grandparent for some that don't have one show up. And we don't discriminate. You know what? If we'll take moms, we take dads. If there's not a grandparent who can come, anybody can come.
Okay.
Yeah.
Always came. Back grammar.
Yeah.
Here.
I bet your wife wouldn't mind coming to be around. Maybe 1 or 2 days.
Check with her.
Give her the menu first.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know,
All right.
lots going on at the high school.
I think that's it.
That's true.
Thank you.
That's what it says, saying, what are the dates?
Stage is yours. The stage is yours.
So what is the date for the pie in the face? What date is that? I'm not
That
sure.
is November 10th.
November 10th, I want
It
to write
is.
that down.
It's a half day.
Everybody's writing that
Is it gonna be
down.
on video?
What time?
Oh, it will be video. It's a half day, and we'll do it towards the end of that half day, probably from 11 to 11:30, where we'll have an assembly. We've got veterans coming in that day,
Oh, cool.
day before Veterans Day.
All right, tomorrow we are looking forward to the sun rising tomorrow, and hopefully the temperatures will cool off just a tad bit. We're looking forward to that. 10-year Health Life Safety Report. You all have asked us to start looking at that, and we have started looking at that. And we did receive an estimate from Thompson Electronics. I have not yet had an opportunity to talk with Shelley regarding budgeting this possible, if the board approves this expenditure. We haven't talked to Shelley yet about this, but need to do that. But we have looked at some areas on the 10-year Health Life Safety Report. There are 5 different areas. Thompson's has provided an estimate to remedy those 5 different areas, and that is attached to the report. Locker rooms. We talked briefly at the last meeting about that briefly, and the question of the day was, you know, is the board, do you want us to simply remedy the items of concern on the 10-year Health Life Safety Report, or based upon the budget, was the board interested in actually looking at updating those locker rooms? And those were, you know, it's an apples and oranges item there. And does the board have any feedback on that at this point?
I thought when we did the walkthrough, we had talked about renovating them.
The boys
Anything?
especially.
Boys first.
Right, we said the boys' locker room needed it the most. And I thought we had that CTS or whatever. They talked about moving some things in the boys' locker room because of the water flow and just different things. And we thought we were gonna look at that and maybe do that.
We maybe call them that.
Okay.
But I think we need a consensus to give direction to them, whether to put any money in it now, or if we're going to have the money available.
One thing Jim said, you said, Val, I want to follow up what you said. Jim, our architect, said, you got to be careful with locker rooms. He says, he always tells schools, if you're going to make the locker rooms better, make the girls' locker room better first, because I don't know. He said you have cameras there. Okay.
Well, the problem is the girls' locker room looks pretty good.
It's better than the boys. But he didn't give that information, he said. maybe-
I mean, I understand that, but we were thinking, look, girls' locker room looks 10 times better than the boys. And we have games that they're coming in.
And all the girls are dressing, the visiting girls are dressing in
Right,
that locker.
and it's just, we thought something feasible. I mean,
Depending on the price, I mean, I
Right,
could do both of them at once, but yeah.
And then have big being well,
Right.
right, exactly.
We
to
did a quote
determine
for
if
both.
we need to fix things first.
Yeah, that's a
Sure.
good idea.
Okay.
Get a card for both.
Okay. So you'd like to start looking at some different, as a board?
We even discussed taking out the
Okay.
showers, because no one's showering anyway, and it's wasted
Right.
space.
What did he call that, Jim?
And put a bathroom in there.
I'm sorry?
What did he call the locker? He never called them locker rooms, he called them.
Changing rooms or dressing rooms is what he
A
referred to.
lot of schools are building without showers.
Right.
Okay. A positive item, Harvey Harrington, he's been to our building twice this year. He actually initiated some communication a couple of weeks ago, and Harvey threw out a proposal. He said, you know what? He said, I'd like to come back. And Harvey charges roughly $1,000 per hour. In my opinion, he's worth that. In my opinion, he does a heck of a job speaking. And anyway, so his pitch to us was he would like to come back and do some professional development segment with our teachers. And the topic of the professional development would deal with personality profiles, and the goal of this would feed into helping us all look at different opinions that we may have. It would fit into our team building concept per se. And the pitch was that he would come back and do this free of charge. He simply, if we would allow him to come back and do this free of charge, he wants to film it. And then he's wanting to hire a professional filming crew to actually put a professional development CD together, and then he's going to actually, he'll eventually be selling that. But he's wanting to actually film this at our school in Creve Coeur district. So, sounds like a pretty good deal. Free professional development meets one of our goals that we have, we're trying to work on.
If you go online, you can see exactly what he said to our students and teachers. The first time with teachers is online, the students are online. And he'll say the same thing to other schools. You get on there, he's got tapes where he's talked to other schools. Same type message.
And this would be during the day,
What we are,
shop, or?
right, he is right now trying to hire a filming company, so to speak, and after that, we would probably be looking at hopefully an in-service day, some type of an SIP day, or even a faculty meeting, something like that to get this worked in. That's what we're looking at doing. It'd be a free item. Mr. Whiston talked about a positive activity tomorrow. East Coeur High School's homecoming parade is tomorrow. The Warriorettes and cheerleaders will be participating in the parade. Mrs. Morgan, Mrs. Guerra, and Mrs. Williamson will be accompanying our students, so we are very excited about that to showcase our fine students of Parkview at the high school homecoming parade. Last week, 8th grade students attended a career exploration field trip at the Expo Gardens. Students learned about different locations, hands-on activities, and the feedback from the staff who helped supervise that was that the students, it was a good learning opportunity for our students. We have a new counselor this year. Mrs. Baird is our new counselor this year. Mrs. Baird, we've been having some sidebar conversations, so to speak, over the past 2 weeks. And Mrs. Baird has asked if we could actually put together and assemble, it's called a Moms Who Cares program. We're wanting to bring that to our school at Parkview. And this program is a free program. It would not cost any, we would not incur any cost. What we would need to do, we need to identify a room. We can't identify a room. We would also need to identify a room coordinator, someone to come in from our community to help volunteer, to help with organizing the different items that would be made available to our students, and we have some ideas as far as some contacts that we may have to help accommodate that. So, and as far as the students are able to go shopping, they call it shop. That's the terminology they use. Eligible students, and the eligibility would kick in by teacher referral, staff referral, even maybe the F&R lunch count. That we would have some type of referral, or maybe a student just has some type of a need that we're trying to meet. And the types of items would be things as simple to you and I as shampoo, soaps, body sprays, things that a lot of us may take for granted, that a lot of our kids, they may not be able to have those things, on up to t-shirts, briefs, things of that nature, even tennis shoes, things like that, snacks. I think they even provide some non-perishable snacks that the students could take home with them on long weekends. So that's something that Mrs. Baird has been talking with us about, over the staff and I over at Parkview, and it's something we do feel that we have a need, and but we need to get the blessing, want to ask the blessing of the board in order for us to be able to bring this program into our school. But it's a free program, and you know, I was talking with some of our staff members recently about on Fridays when staff wear on our Jean Days, we've been contributing some dollars to the Veterans Association, some other organizations, but it'd be nice if we even took that money and maybe gave it right back to that organization, Moms Who Care, because that will go right back to our students whenever the organization
Great
buys
idea.
different supplies, so.
Consensus of the board? Sounds great.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll get that program up and running. And this program, it is up and running at Central Junior High over in East Peoria, Limestone Walters High School, Beverly Manor School in Washington. So the program is being utilized in various areas. I wanted to go back, if I could, and revisit fundraising. Last spring, I think we talked very briefly about the notion that at Parkview, we're still trying to get a parents club. But right now, we don't have a parents club. And I think we had talked last spring about the notion of possibly having one more fundraiser in the spring, not involving 8th grade students, because 8th grade students they participate in a fundraiser to help pay for their 8th grade trip, but involving the 5th, 6th, and 7th grade students. And what we were interested in doing is if we could do that, that would raise more monies, and we would be able to do more things for our students without relying at this point on a parents organization. And I would like to ask the board to come back again and just to ask, you know, are there procedural issues with us for us to do that, or is that something that we would be able to move forward with?
You always had two in the past. At one point, they gave it to the parent club, but the school actually had two.
I thought the state law, the school had to give it to the parent cover. I thought it had to be a second, like someone else, because the school's not allowed to raise money for themselves and fundraise. So it has to be through a club. I thought it was a state law.
A state law for what now?
Well, the schools aren't allowed to raise, I don't think the schools are allowed to raise money, do that. I don't think the schools are allowed to raise money and can't, you know, sell things for the school. I thought it had to be through a parent club or some type of club.
Well, or a student council, and I
Or a
think
student
what we
council,
had
right,
talked
which
about
would be
with,
one of the clubs.
I think what we would be looking at Parkview would be with the student
Through
council.
student council.
Coordinate
So the
that
fall
for
would be
us.
student council and then also.
Yes,
Right, but I
yes,
think they could do that, but I just don't think they could do, the school could do it itself.
Right.
okay. Is that fair to do?
I would just suggest that you try to not step on, well, like the uniform,
Sure,
you know, try to space it out so
Sure.
we're not having too many at one time.
absolutely.
I
and
would
we'll-
also suggest when you get a parent club, maybe you give that back to them to handle, or.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely,
But for now-
that's
Depending
a
on
fair
how it's set
trade.
up.
Sure,
That's a great idea.
okay.
And we talked about a booster club even,
Right.
Mhm.
you know, to help with this, you know, to pay for the sports and things like that.
You can get one
He
going.
does not go anywhere either,
Right,
okay.
right, we're still
But for
trying.
now,
Yeah, we're still gonna try, okay?
Something going for this mouse fair.
Well, it's a total separate, yeah, it's a separate program.
sounds like you're good to go for two
Okay.
fundraisers.
Updates, some upcoming activities and events. We have a fire drill scheduled next Monday. Right now, unless there's an emergency, the fire department, they are scheduled to participate with us on that one. And then on October the 5th, Lions Club Hearing Bus is scheduled to be at Parkview for our 5th grade students at 9 in the morning. We have a Teachers Institute Day next Friday, full day Teacher Institute Day. And then, believe it or not, October 13th is the end of our first grading period. So we're getting close to the end of the first quarter. So it is going fast. Any questions or concerns?
So what about the Harvey Harrington guy? When does he want to start?
Well, right now, he is in the process of hiring a filming company. And once he works those logistics out, we'll get something scheduled.
Okay, I was just wondering if it was going to be October 13th.
No, we were, you know what, when Harvey first called, we were actually looking at October the 6th, and it's just not going to happen. We can't turn, too quick, too soon, too quick, but I'm optimistic that hopefully we can get something worked out and at no cost. So,
That's great.
okay?
Alright, thanks.
I think the Moms Who Care program is an excellent.
I do. I think it's gonna be an asset to our students. I really do. I think it's gonna be a good thing. Okay?
I want to say one thing to both, I enjoy going into the building. It is, you know, each morning, each afternoon, usually food draws me to the schools, but I enjoy going into the schools, seeing the kids, and I think we have some fantastic students. You know, one thing I said to Steve when we were talking to the 8th grade, I said, I look at you, everybody, there is no question that everybody was dressed appropriately. You know, Chuck Taylor tennis shoes are about, Chuck Taylor, are the Converse tennis shoes, and when I was in 8th grade, they're $9.99, I don't know what they cost now.
About $69.99.
Chuck Taylor shoes, I said,
$9.99.
I said, Chuck Taylor is back, I'm glad to see Chuck Taylor back. But the kids all were dressed appropriate. I mean, the girls, you know, we always see the cuts on them. I was impressed with it. I said, I did not want you here that's not dressed right. Everybody's got nice t-shirts on, I said, then you've got a bear shirt on, but maybe that's questionable, you know. They laughed. Yes. But I enjoy going in the buildings.
Kim from the village.
Tree. Yeah.
Okay.
February, December 1st, I think.
First Friday.
Okay. Got it on the calendar.
We're gonna back up just a minute, I forgot something, and I think maybe you had these at the last meeting, but I'm not sure. But I wanted to explain why I have them.
No,
No, you didn't? Okay.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay. All right, I had a very nice conversation with Mrs. Davis, and I simply asked her, what are the hours of our lunch, our cook staff? We had kind of a small issue. She was having trouble getting subs, and we were pulling one from Parkview, and so I asked her not to do that unless she had to. And so she gave us the names of the subs. She gave us a lot of good information, and you can see the hours. I didn't realize this until she sent it to me, that LaSalle's hours are different than Parkview's. I'm not sure why, but that's okay, maybe because they start early, okay?
So we have some breakfast earlier.
I guess,
Half hour.
right.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, she's got this very specific, their times, and they shouldn't vary. I just wanted to share that with everybody. I didn't. All right.
And then adding the new subs.
Yes, we gotta add the new subs, because this was a couple weeks ago that she sent it to me. So.
Never mind. I just wondered how we get a 27.5 hour person or 22.5. I don't remember the board ever talking about that. And why start at 7:45 and end at 1:15? Why someone else is starting at 7 and ending at 1:30?
You can email her and ask
I
her.
mean, I'm
though.
just wondering why these times are the way they are.
And actually, those two will probably, everybody will move up one slot because Kathy Peel is here this year. Everybody took one slot up.
Okay.
So what does that mean?
It's just that it stayed the same, but just, if you look at people, how much,
The
like
names aren't right with the
Debbie
times.
is getting 30 hours, but Diane would be getting 27.
I'm just wondering why they are all not 28 hours apiece. How did we come up with this? I mean, I don't even know if the union contract even goes along with this.
Mrs. Smallberger, can you give some input here?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
For breakfast, you only need 2 people, so that's why your hours are different. So you only need so many people for your morning breakfast, and then towards the end of the lunch period, they send somebody goes home too. So when they need
So
the
we're
work.
staggering.
No, they're saying here, all 1:30, 1:15, 1:30.
One leaves at 1:15.
One-
Right, 15 minutes early, but
Yeah,
1:30, everyone else is 1:30, 1:30, 1:30.
I think the last person that gets 22.
Because they're done
they don't
cleaning.
come for breakfast, so she just comes in after.
and one of them, the breakfast one, there's one that comes in after breakfast is already over. As they're getting ready
That's
to
a
do lunch.
22.5. Right.
Mhm.
So she's not there for breakfast. But yeah, the hours are different than Parkview.
Right,
Parkview-
I'm just, everyone's
Parkview
30,
has-
35. they're just doing, I don't know, it just doesn't even make sense.
And Parkview is because the buses, Parkview starts a half an hour earlier than LaSalle does.
I understand that, but why would we hire, I mean, why wouldn't we make them all just 30 hours? Or all 28 hours? That's the position, it's a 28-hour position.
I can tell you when I started Clear 22 years ago, it's been this way. That's the best explanation I can give, yes. Because I started out as a sub lunchroom.
The head cooks are 35. and
Right, because they have to be there.
Right.
To
I get
open,
that.
start the ovens and all that.
Right.
But they're to stay on the schedule unless they ask or request from Michelle to change it.
But she changed it already, they said this isn't correct,
That's only because there's somebody gone
for a year.
for a year.
So it should have been, I mean, I don't know.
I asked her before that. I think that this is old, but
I
just at the
just-
beginning of the year. All right, committee reports, building and grounds.
I'm done.
Okay,
No, we have a meeting that we're gonna set, so we're gonna talk about something.
good idea. All right, policy?
Nothing new, we've already discussed it.
Okay. Technology.
Okay, we did have a meeting yesterday. We did discuss if more Chromebooks were needed at Parkview, so Mr. Wendelman is going to monitor the use and get back with us on that. The laptops that were removed from the labs have been relocated to LaSalle to be used by Latchkey. And as Mr. McCormick said, the cameras have been installed and are operational. The next round of purchases for tech will be for the administrators and secretaries, office personnel. That's, I think, the last ones on our list.
How much will that be approximately?
He doesn't know yet, he's gotta get a count and he'll get us a quote later in the year. Putting the board policies online, Mr. Gibbons, we did discuss that. And interesting that Mr. McCormick and Mr. Johnson have both done that in other districts, so they can be of help. And Mr. Wendelin is going to get the process all ready to go, and then he'll train somebody from the district to actually do it.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah, the only thing that he kind of anticipated was a PDF converter software. He said maybe $100 if we don't already have one in the district somewhere. The iPads for ECE and life skills have been delivered to the building and are being put in the cases. Not in the classroom yet today? Okay, hopefully later this week that will happen. We discussed the phone system and we're looking at maybe finding a replacement for that next year. Also, a couple things. Mr. Wendelin stated that Creve Coeur is ahead of most of the area schools as far as technology. And he asked about our park scores and how we placed with other area schools. So we did discuss park scores in depth and what we can do visiting other schools that he was aware of that have similar demographics. So I think Mr. McCormick is going to schedule a visit with one of those schools. That's it.
All right, teacher advisory, are we doing anything yet or
I
too
haven't
early?
done anything, it's not too early, I need to get on it. But I need to get parents. There's a couple parents that said they would be on it. I have, one definitely from Parkview, and one definitely from LaSalle.
Okay, go for two.
I
Just
want, that's why I
because.
wanted
Yeah.
at least 2 or 3 from each school.
Food service?
I want to schedule a meeting.
Okay.
I'll have to see when I
I've already met him.
can talk with her. To schedule.
You'll let me know.
Well, what days is she here? Can you just schedule it? I mean, she's here every day, isn't she?
What happened tomorrow?
But she has to get off work, she has to plan
Right.
ahead of time to get off work. You do. All right. Anything else that we put on? Are there any visitors wishing to address the board? Need a motion, please?
Motion to enter an executive session for student matters, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, dismissal of specific employees of the public body, collective bargaining matters between the public body and its exclusive representatives as certified employees and review of executive session minutes from the regular meeting held September 12, 2017 at 7:23.
Second.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Aye. Val Reagan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner.
Aye.
Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. We need a motion to resume, please.
Make a motion to resume regular session at 9:50.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle.
Aye.
Val Reagan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner. Aye. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. In executive session, we did discuss student matters and specific employees. Guess that's it. All right, we need a motion regarding substitute bus drivers.
Motion to add George Pilkington to the substitute bus drivers list. Second.
Roll call.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Aye. Catherine Reagan. Not here. Val Reagan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner. Aye. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Need a motion regarding boys basketball coach.
Motion to employ Aaron Wurstable as a boys basketball coach for the 2017-2018 school year. Second.
Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Val Reagan.
Can I rephrase that? Isn't it for 7th or 8th grade?
It's seven.
7th grade basketball coach, because we don't have any for 5th and 6th yet, so let me rephrase that. 7th grade basketball. Second.
All right. Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Val Reagan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner. Aye. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Anything else? Make the motion we adjourn at 10:51.
9:50.
9:51.
Second. Giddens.
Aye.
Cagle. Aye. Val Reagan.
Aye.
Tyler.
Aye.
Griner. Aye. Bailey.
Aye, motion carried. Meeting adjourned.